This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and for the third time this week I'm joined by promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie, you're probably sick of the sight of me, but I'm certainly not sick of the sight of you, having seen this attire you have decided to walk up into today. Can you explain?
Yeah, obviously you're probably looking at me now thinking I look unbelievable, and I've just finished the weigh-in. Actually came off the stage and had like 4 or 5 messages from Dolce & Gabbana just saying they want me to be part of their new season's catalogue, and it's an honour really. I think it's humbling. No, not really. In Texas, Canelo brought me these pyjamas, and I promised I'd wear them for the weigh-in. I took them off twice upstairs because I thought you just can't do it, and I thought, come on, let's go. So yeah, I rate them. I mean, if we were allowed out of the bubble in South Beach, I'd be on fire right now. Do you know what I mean? Maybe a little medallion, the clear sunglasses, but yeah, all good fun, mate. You can't take yourself too seriously.
Eddie, we're obviously only a day away now. The pound-for-pound star returns. How do you think Canelo's adapted to this fight bubble in comparison to Texas?
I think he likes the bubble because I think, AJ liked the bubble as well. I think normally on a fight week there's such madness. You've got the grand arrivals in Vegas, people coming up to him, mobbing him all the time. Here you can chill out. We built a golf course for him in the hotel. He's been nice and relaxed. Yildirim's been loving it because when you get the Canelo fight, Andy, that's your breakout fight, your breakout moment. Yildirim went to the Hard Rock Stadium and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. So I actually watched the Yildirim-Anthony Durrell fight last night. Very, very close fight, and I felt that Yildirim was going to go on and win that fight. So he can fight, but obviously we know Canelo is a pound-for-pound great. I think Yildirim, and speaking to Amit Owner, who's crazy, they're going to go for it. They realise the only way they can win this fight is to be aggressive. And unfortunately, that's very dangerous against Canelo Alvarez, but it should lead to a great fight.
It is Canelo's mandatory, so it can't be helped. But what do you make of any negative comments that have been thrown towards Canelo for having this fight?
I just think when you look at the resume, and you go Daniel Jacobs, Sergey Kovalev, Callum Smith, Avni Yildirim, Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant, how can you possibly even start to criticise this guy? He's fighting the best in different weight classes non-stop. He has a mandatory defence, and if he does not fight this fight, he loses his WBC title, and he's trying to become undisputed. He's fitting it in 8 weeks after the Callum Smith fight. If this was a Cinco de Mayo fight, I think all of a sudden it's like, you're only boxing twice a year. He wants to box 4 times this year. This is a good fight, and hopefully he gets through tomorrow, not just with a win, but unscathed. No damaged hands, no cuts. And then hopefully we can announce a mega fight tomorrow night.
I spoke to Maurizio Sulaiman yesterday and asked him for kind of clarification on Canelo's franchise title, franchise champion at 160. He said if he wanted to, he could have carried it up to 168, but he decided to become the normal WBC world champion. Just your thoughts on that and the entire franchise kind of title?
Because the problem is if you're franchise champion, you can't be undisputed. Right, so Teofimo Lopez,
Maurizio Sulaiman will disagree with you on that.
Well, no, because that was the original ruling until everyone started complaining. The governing bodies do not recognise the franchise champion as the WBC world champion, right? So what I'm saying is you can't unify with the franchise championship. So the question marks over that, I know you heard from Maurizio, but Canelo Alvarez says, well, if I'm the franchise champ, can I actually be undisputed? So he didn't want the franchise championship at 168. He said, no, I want the actual championship. And they said, if that's the case, you have to fight Avni Yildirim as your mandatory. And he said, okay, let's try and do that fast. Let's get that in February. And we've got a massive show tomorrow night. I've got so much planned tomorrow night. There's something I'm trying to pull off, saying this could be mega tomorrow night. Mega.
What kind of hints can you give us at tomorrow night? Because I saw you say that in an interview earlier on.
Just listen, we know we've got some good fights, but the production, the ring walks, the people there, it's going to be special.
Eddie, just talk to me about the card as well. Julio Cesar Martinez pulling out for injury. Just talk to me about that.
Gutted. I mean, just before the press conference yesterday, I had a message from one of Saul's team to say that Cesar Martinez has hurt his hand and he was out of the fight. And I thought, wow, that can't be right. And he's not going to do the press conference. Then he came down and says, look, I'm going to get a doctor to look after it after the press conference. Turned up at the press conference and it was absolute. I've never seen. I mean, he couldn't move it. It was like a balloon. And I thought there is absolutely no way. And actually, I watched the press conference last night. You can see it when he's sitting there. He can't move his hand. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go and see the doctor. I looked at him. I went, clench your fist. Couldn't even move his fingers. No chance. So we had to do the press conference, basically knowing that the fight was most likely off. Shout out to JC, to Sean Gibbons, to Robert Diaz. Everyone been working around the clock. We now have Abraham Rodriguez, very good Mexican fighter, coming in to fight McWilliams Arroyo. Thank you to Mauricio Suleiman, it's going to be for the interim world title. So we've still got a good fight, but gutted that we haven't got El Rey on this platform. Do you know what I mean? On this kind of opportunity to fight on a Canelo Alvarez card. So still got a good fight, got some great fights on the card, and got a major show tomorrow night.
One final thing on this card before we move on to a couple of other topics. Mark Castro just can't seem to catch a break. Raul Corona, also you can't write it. Raul Corona testing positive for COVID.
What are we doing? What are the team doing making a fight with Raul Corona? I mean, how obvious was the only person that was going to test positive this week going to be Raul Corona? So Raul Corona failed his test. He's actually got a good fight. He's fighting a UFC fighter who turns to boxer. I think he's 2-1 or something like that. I watched him fight last night. He's all right. So Mark Castro will fight on the card and Raul Corona will not.
Moving forwards, we know that King Ryan Garcia is here. We had a brief chat with him earlier. Wasn't really keen on the Devin Haney fight until you maybe said a few words to him. But what do you make of it? Do you think that we will see that one next?
I don't know why he won't fight Devin Haney. And the only reason is if you get Tank or if you get Manny Pacquiao. Like I said in the interview, I understand that. But he fought a final eliminator to fight Devin Haney. So why not fight him? I mean, it's a massive fight. The Zone won it badly. Sells out at Staples Centre in a second. We're talking about these kids being the four kings. But to do that, they've got to fight each other consistently. But, I respect Ryan Garcia. I think he's great for the sport. He had a great win over Luke Campbell. I just hope he goes on to fight Devin Haney.
Sticking with that lightweight division, Bob Arum is not a happy man with you, Eddie, for your bidding for the Teofimo Lopez fight yesterday. Even though you didn't get it, he said that he wasn't happy that you bid, and next time he'll kind of stick his nose into your potential purse bids moving forwards. Just your thoughts on his comments.
He has every right to. Can bid on whatever fight goes to purse bid. Ultimately, if my broadcaster wants to bid on a fight, and I want to bid on a fight, we're bidding. What, because Bob Arum told me not to bid, I won't bid. Don't work like that. Bob thinks, Bob sometimes talks to me like I'm 12. You know what I mean? Like when I first met him. But it's not the case. We do what's right for our fighters, we do what's right for our platform, we do what's right for our network. And I'm so pleased for Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos, because you know what? Teofimo Lopez went out there and beat the undisputed champion. And the offer they made him was actually quite offensive. So he got the money yesterday. So well done, enjoy it. He deserves every cent. And congratulations to George Kambosos, because he's set for life. It's brilliant. These guys deserve every cent.
Are there any dangers that because of what's kind of on between yourself and Bob, I don't really say it's an issue, but kind of a comment that could rumble on and affect, say, the Fury AJ negotiations?
He already said that. He said if he bids, it might affect the Fury AJ fight. What a thing to say. How bad is that for boxing? It's not going to affect the Fury AJ fight. But the problem is with Bob is he don't care anymore. Right? So in a way you have to respect that he's speaking 100% from his heart and the truth. He's 89 or 90, he don't care. But what he's saying is really damaging Top Rank's sort of image with fighters. Because he's talking about Teofimo Lopez, who's just beat the one of the pound-for-pound greats. And he talks about Terence Crawford like they're two guys that don't have any value. They're pound-for-pound stars themselves. It's not about paying fighters just for the sake of it or unrealistic, but when they achieve something like that, surely they should go on and be rewarded. So congratulations to those guys. I'm sorry Bob's not happy. He's going to be unhappy with me for a long time to come yet. But Bob's Bob. He's speaking from the heart. I respect it. Good luck to him.
I've got to ask Joseph Parker. He wins tonight. What's up next for him?
We want to do the Derek Chisora fight. That's a fight that we're looking at. Obviously, look, one, he's got to beat Junior Farr. Two, he's got to beat him well, because that fight would come around quite quickly. I think Parker looks brilliant, but Junior Farr's a big old lump. I mean, I watched the weigh-in yesterday. It's a great fight. Great fight. It's going to be in the ring around, I think, 9 o'clock in the morning, UK time on DAZN, so tune in.
Andi Ruiz Jr. will be knocking about this week as well. What do you see is kind of up next for him? I know you don't work with him personally, but...
I love Andy Ruiz. I think he's great. And I think as well, it's a situation where, by the way, there's so many fighters coming this weekend. I mean, you're going to have a field day. Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Gervonta Davis, Errol Spence, Charlo, Demetrius Andrade, Devin Haney. It's full of top names. Forgot what the question was now.
Andi Ruiz Jr.
Yeah, he looks great, doesn't he? Eddie Reynoso's done a great job with him. I want to see him back. I think he's one of the most exciting heavyweights out there right now, and looking forward to seeing him back in action.
Right, Liv, final word to yourself. Gee, everybody up for tomorrow night.
Well, not just tomorrow night, but I don't know what time this is going out, but tonight, Daniel Scardina on DAZN, Parker Farr tomorrow morning, and then tune in from the Miami Dolphins Stadium, the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami tomorrow night. I cannot. Yeah, come on, Andy. I can't believe we're promoting a show with Canelo there. And wait till you see the show. It's going to leave you absolutely. I won't say that word because it's a bit offensive, but like that.
Eddie, thank you as always.
Cheers, mate.